Hey guys, I'm back and slowly getting better. Um, I finally, I finally am dealing with the fact that this book is a monster. Now, the good news is when it ultimately comes out, I think it's going to have massive impact because every day, in a way, it's good that I was delayed by being food poisoned and then by being poisoned by the paint thinner fumes. Um, because I would have finished the book 2 months ago. And in the intervening time, I've discovered even more stuff. I mean, this thing is going to be deader than dead. This whole idea of vaccinating children with the Hep B vaccine at birth or even in infancy, it's going to be deader than dead when this book comes out. It may take a while, but if this book gets any kind of traction at all, it's going to be a real problem for the bad guys. And by the way, they are bad guys. If you had a sense, like a nagging sense that the people behind all this are not good people, this book will drive that point home. All right, so I wanted to share something with you. When it rains, it pours. So one of the things I'm doing to help myself is I go to this hyperbaric oxygen therapy place up in Albany, which is, oh, geez, it's like an hour drive for me. And I I got to stay overnight because I get I can't do 100-mile commute every day. I'm not a car guy. Um, so I found this really nice place. Everything's excellent about it, but they use freaking dryer sheets. It's like a really nice, it's beyond a bed and breakfast. It's like a mini hotel and people are awesome. The rooms, it's an old, like what they call pre-war building. And if you've ever been in New York City or any kind of a biggish city, they used to build buildings a lot better before World War II. Plaster walls, thick walls, beautiful wood floors, molding, they used to really, not the shoe boxes they make now. Um, so it's an old pre-war building that's been converted into a guest house. So it's awesome. And it's right across from a park and there's food everywhere. You can walk to food. I mean, but they use dryer sheets. Now you may say, well, what's wrong with dryer sheets? Okay, for one thing, I'm allergic to them. A lot of people are. And you may be allergic to them and not know it. You may have health problems that you don't know where they're coming from, and they're coming from the very helpful dryer sheets that the corporate monster class has rammed down our throats. So I'm going to read some of my research. I had to research this because I wanted to know why um, these dryer sheets are making me were. I just went out and bought new sheets. I said, just get these sheets out of the room. I'm going to use my own sheets. So anyway, I want, so here's my point here. There's always a point. Uh, I've been doing this for decades now, and I realize it's taking a toll, and it's probably taking a toll on my longtime listeners too. So I realized something really simple recently. We can't do a whole lot about what's going on, but one thing we can absolutely do is say no to various things on a case-by-case basis. What is that, Nancy Reagan? People old enough to remember her? Just say no. So there's a lot of things in life. For instance, that's why I'm working so hard on this hepatitis B vaccine book. There is no, I'm not a doctor. I'm not presenting myself as a doctor. I'm not your doctor, and I'm not giving you medical advice. But if I had a child, I wouldn't allow them within 10,000 miles of this thing. So the answer is to say no. Simple. Let them have their crazy, demonic, diabolical machinations, their power trips, their careerism, you know. Let them have it. Let them go to it. I kind of wish my dream is we could get a big island somewhere and take all these people and just put them on an island. Like feed them, let them march around in uniforms and pat each other on the back. Let them live their life, but just don't involve us in it, right? So the hepatitis B vaccine is something where people can say no. Another simple place where you can say no is dryer sheets. Nobody's forcing you to buy them. MK Ultra isn't brainwashing, well, maybe they are, or trying to, brainwashing you into buying this crap that's injuring your health. You can just say no. That's an easy one. And saying no saves you money. This is my new thing. This is going to be my theme for the last part of my life. Just say no. Not don't despair over how bad things are. Um, and of course, just go out, go to a park somewhere, and you'll see how beautiful things are. So the underlying thing is beautiful. It's man and mammon, whatever mammon is. I don't even know what that means, but I've heard that term. Um, lays his or her and her stuff all over it, but underneath it's beautiful, and we can just say no. So I want to read this article to you, and here goes. So dryer sheets are one of those products nobody questions because they've always been there. You toss one in, your clothes come out soft and smelling like, quote, fresh linen or, quote, a mountain breeze. And that's the end of it. But take a closer look at what's actually happening, and the product doesn't hold up. It offers a small cosmetic benefit, and I dispute that. But and in exchange, it asks you to breathe in and sleep against a cocktail of synthetic chemicals every single day. I mean, there's no place that you spend 8 hours. You don't spend 8 hours in a particular chair. You don't spend, you know what I mean? But you do spend 8 hours in bed. So 8 hours a day, if you're lucky, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, breathing this crap in. Okay. So let's start with what a dryer sheet actually is. It's a thin polyester sheet. We all need more polyester coated with a fabric softening agent. That sounds scary. Usually a class of chemicals called quaternary ammonium compounds, or quats for short. These are the ingredients that do the actual softening and static reduction, because heaven to Betsy that we have any static on our sheets. I mean, oh my God, that would be horrible. No one could survive that. Quats have been flagged as an asthmagen, which means they can trigger or worsen asthma. You got asthma? You got allergies? If you're using these chemicals, that might be all you need to do is get rid of them. And they're also known to release, drum roll please, formaldehyde, which is a carcinogen. They release, and as they break down, they release formaldehyde. Yeah, 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And they sell and advertise this stuff, and there's not a supermarket you can go to in America that doesn't have an entire aisle devoted to this crap. It's a legal loophole. Oh, on top of the quats, here it just gets better. And remember, guys, we don't have to despair over this. This is one we do not have to despair over. We can just say no. So on top of the quats, manufacturers add a fragrance. And fragrance on a label is not one ingredient. It's a legal loophole. A single fragrance can contain over, are you ready? 3,000 undisclosed, let me say it again, undisclosed chemical compounds, because guess what? Drum roll, please. Their fragrance formulas are protected as trade secrets. You are never told what you're actually inhaling. Do I need to even go any further? But maybe you love your maybe you love your dryer sheets, or maybe you have friends or relatives, people you care about who love them. So I'm going to continue. Here's the part most people don't know. The scent doesn't just evaporate and disappear after one wash. Manufacturers specifically engineered it to stick around, because that's what, let's take our engineering talent in the world and have it create toxins, because that will make the world better. Fragrance chemists, these are some diabolical people. I'm sorry, guys. If you're a fragrance chemist, you may end up in a bad place in the afterlife. They choose scent molecules based on how well they survive the heat in the dryer. And some companies go further and encapsulate the fragrance in microscopic capsules made of cyclodextrin, which is a compound designed specifically to trap the scent and release it slowly over time as the fabric flexes and rubs against your skin. That's not an accident or a side effect. That is the entire point. The product is built to keep off-gassing chemicals into your bedroom, your car, your closet for as long as possible because a sheet that releases all its scent in one wash and then goes clean wouldn't sell as well as one that keeps smelling for days. By the way, you're talking about your bedroom, your car, um, your lungs, your bloodstream, your liver, right? That's how it goes. Anything you, and I learned this the hard way when I got poisoned by those uh, paint thinner fumes. Anything that you can smell is going into your bloodstream. It makes me just even thinking about it. That was bad injury, you guys. Um, anyway, anything you can smell is going into your bloodstream. Anything in your bloodstream is going to your liver. Your liver's already got a lot to do. Doesn't need to be detoxifying unnecessary toxins. And, the older we get, you know, the less you want to poison yourself. Duh. I'm going to write it someday. I'm going to write an easy book where I'm just going to list all the products that are sold in the supermarket that you could and should say no to that will instantly improve your health and probably and save you money because most of this stuff is it's not cheap. Cheap for them to make, right? But then they put it in a nice box, they run the TV commercials, and now, as that demon Warren Buffett has said, and I know everybody thinks he's a kindly old grandfather, his favorite product is something that costs a penny to make. You can sell it for $1, and it's addictive. That's why he loved the cigarette business. And that's why he guided the cigarette money into the junk food industry. And those chemists all went from making cigarettes addictive to making junk food addictive. Look it up. He made a lot of money. Congratulations, Warren. Anyway, let's go on in case you need to hear more. When you measure what actually comes out of a dryer, and by the way, while you're drying these clothes, this stuff's going into the air. And if you're a wealthy person, you have a laundry room in another compound of your house. If you're a normal person, your laundry air is probably coming into your house. So researchers have found over 25 distinct volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, released from a single load. Here we go. They include acetaldehyde, whatever that is, I don't know. But I do know what benzene is. And they are classified, by the way, products of crude oil. One study estimated that the acetaldehyde released from a single load of scented laundry was roughly equivalent to 3% of a city's total daily car emissions for that pollutant. Okay, by the way, I found this article, or I spun this article with research that I did. So I'm not quite sure what they're saying here. So a city's total daily car emission, I don't think that's right. Is that right? Could that possibly be right? I'll have to look that up. But anyway, it's bad. That is laundry. Oh, I get it. Okay. So take a city, calculate all of its daily car emissions, and acetaldehyde is one of them. Laundry making with this crap is about an average, it amounts to 3% of all the acetaldehyde that comes from car emissions in a given city. That's laundry, not traffic, producing a meaningful slice of airborne carcinogen output. Oh my God, what's it doing to the little kids? Other commonly detected compounds include limonene, linalool, and various aldehydes, all known eye, nose, and throat irritants, plus alpha terpineol, specifically flagged for triggering respiratory issues in people with asthma. Now, hotels don't do this, though some of the fancy ones are starting to add scent to everything. God help us. But what they do is they boil their laundry in really super hot washing machines. That's all, with some soap. That's all we need. By the way, this is not a fringe sensitivity affecting a tiny handful of people. National survey data has found that roughly a third of adults 33% report some kind of adverse health reaction to fragrance products, and that number jumps to well over a third, in some surveys closer to two-thirds, among people who already have asthma. Reported symptoms include headaches, dizziness, nausea, respiratory irritation, coughing, and skin reactions ranging from mild irritation to full contact dermatitis. I learned what full contact dermatitis is because I used Tide detergent. I never used that crap. Right? But I was seeing somewhere else, that's what they had. I used it, and I think I know I got this big rash all over my leg. I thought maybe I got bit by some bug or something. And of course, I went to a dermatologist, and they didn't have a clue. Typical. By the way, she gave me antibiotics and steroids. In other words, hey, I'm a drunk on a park bench. I don't know what's going on. Why don't you try this? MD. Famous, from a very famous New Orleans MD family. Anyway, some of the specific fragrance chemicals used include, well, it's a Greek word, phthalates, and some are hidden inside the unlisted fragrance blend. We don't know what this stuff is. And they're reproductive toxins, and they're hormone disruptors. Synthetic musks are used in these formulas, have been found to accumulate in the body fat, and have even shown up in breast milk, meaning the exposure isn't limited to the person doing the laundry. Obviously not. It's going in the air. It's going everywhere. There is also an environmental cost that never gets mentioned on the box. Because these chemicals don't fully break down, they build up in waterways through wastewater runoff and have documented toxicity to aquatic life. Why would we want to kill aquatic life? The residue also coats the inside of the dryer drum, the lint screen, and the exhaust fan over time, which is enough of a recognized issue. Now, California gets a lot of things wrong, but a few things they get right. The California's Air Resources Board now regulates dryer sheets as VOC-emitting consumer products subject to formal testing. The same category of scrutiny applied to industrial solvents. So what do you actually get in exchange for all this? Slightly softer fabric, reduced static clinging, and I want to point out that static cling is, a horror, and two non-essential conveniences. Both are easily and fully replaceable with wool dryer balls. I have no idea what those are, which are reusable for years and produce the same anti-static and softening effect through pure mechanical action. No chemicals involved. But see, if there's no chemical involved, how are the people that sell these chemicals going to make a living and make payments on their Maseratis and their lake houses and their vacations? Gotta make chemical. I mean, hey, life is made better, more convenient by some chemicals, but we got a lot of chemicals we do not need. And this is a class of chemicals we sure don't need. But basically what they are is you got a barrel of oil. You can extract some gas from it. You can extract gasoline. You can extract some diesel from it. You can extract some aviation fuel, some, what's that stuff? Oh, I can't even think of the name of it. You put it in lamps, drawing a blank. But anyway, there's all kinds of stuff you can take out of a barrel of oil. But you can also get some of this poison out of the barrel of oil, which if you package it right, you can make a lot of money. So that's what this is all about. This is some genius at Procter & Gamble or some other place working in conjunction with Mobil Oil or Chevron or Exxon. All right. And by the way, so these two things that I mentioned, but a small amount of white vinegar, which is as cheap as dirt, in the rinse cycle accomplishes the same thing through a wash as a wash cycle softener. Neither alternative leaves behind a chemical film, off-gases anything, or requires 3,000 undisclosed ingredients hiding behind the word fragrance. When you weigh it honestly, and boy, that's not likely to be done, dryer sheets solve a problem that barely exists and creates one that does. The benefit is trivial and easily replaced by free or nearly free alternatives. The cost includes documented hazardous air pollutants, asthma aggravation, allergic and skin reactions in a meaningful share of the population, hormone disrupting chemicals, and an engineered persistence to decide to keep all of it on your body and in your air and in you as long as possible. This is not a product worth defending out of habit. It's a negative. It's a net negative dressed up as a convenience. All right. Let's see. Okay, I'm back. Oh, I never left, but I couldn't see myself because I was reading this thing. So, terrible, right? Just say no. Just don't use them. Problem solved. Environment saved. The air quality of life improved. Health effects eliminated. Negative health effects eliminated. It's all good. So that's my new thing. We're coming up on next year is it our 30th year? Yeah. Hard to imagine. So if you're a newcomer, we were pioneers of all this internet stuff. Well, not only helping the internet get going in the early 90s, but also using this as a channel for sharing information like this. So we're coming up on 30 years. There ain't many people around that can say that. I bring this up because we're coming up to our very necessary, becoming more necessary with each passing year, 4th of July fundraiser, Independence Day fundraiser. And so what I'd ask you to consider is, well, I have a little recording that I always play at the end of a lot of these shows, so I'm just going to play that recording. But it boils down to this. What media is actually helping you? A lot of medias are scaring you out of your mind. A lot of medias are lying to you. What media is actually helping you? So you get what you pay for. And unfortunately, a lot of media is free, and we're free. Like, we don't have a paid subscription or anything like that. But believe me, this costs a lot to produce. I never thought about it when I was younger because I could work 3 jobs at once. Can't do that anymore. So I'm realizing, oh, this is expensive. I don't mind. I'm going to keep doing it forever. Well, I don't know. I'm going to stay on the theme of just say no forever and expose things that we can just get out of our life with no problem, right? You don't have to worry or wish or hope or pray. You just say no. So this is something clearly to say no to. And it's not trivial. If you got this stuff in your house or you have loved ones that do, I'll post the article below in a PDF form. That's a good idea. And you can send this to people you care about. Imagine babies and little kids. They're tiny. They're forming their bodies. They don't. Their livers are small. They don't need this crap. Nobody needs it. And also I have to say people who are ill or people that are frail for one reason or another. They don't need this pounding on them. And sorry, Procter & Gamble and Exxon. This is a little profit center that should be removed. All right. Thanks for listening, and I hope you found this helpful.
Brass Check TV, free to you, not free to us. We've got a server bill, we've got an email software bill, we've got a tech helper bill, and that happens every month. So to everybody that is supporting us financially, that's paying for their subscription in one way or another, we really appreciate it. If you're not, consider doing so. Everybody's got money for the newspaper and the cable bill and all that. Do you have money for media that's actually serving you? That's really the issue here. And when you help us, it allows us to get this information out to the world. So thanks to all our supporters, and if you're not a supporter already, please consider becoming one.